I had never made jambalaya before, and we didn't have somebody making jambalaya, so I just made that and got
She's
first.
like, I've never made it before. Let's do it at a cook-off.
Yeah.
And get first place.
Yeah.
That takes kahunas.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
sure.
I guess you just kind of you do it for fun, and I really enjoy it, and we did that for about.
Welcome to the official podcast of Foodies of Lafayette, where flavor meets community. A huge thank you to our Chef's Table sponsor, Logic Refrigeration and HVAC. Reach out to Seth, 337-242-1000. Let's join our hosts, Heidi McDonald and Jason Stoner.
Hey, y'all. Heidi McDonald, founder of Foodies of Lafayette. I'm here at the beautiful Sunday Soda Fountain downtown. Thank you so much for having us out. I'm here today. We've got Jason Stoner, my partner in crime, as always, and we're bringing you special guests today, Jesse Guidry. Probably recognize him. But before we dig into anything too deep, I do want to give a shout out to our partners. None of this would be possible without them. We've got some really amazing people here in this town, and we've been lucky enough to get their support to help bring you the stories that makes this area so special. And that's really one of the things we want to talk to Jesse about today. So, as you can see here, we've got Logic Refrigeration, HVAC. We've got Cajun Table. We've got Ounce of Hope. We've got our new partner in T-shirts supporting Lafayette Community Fridge Project. That's
I've got my
Parashink.
cowboy riding an alligator for Mr. Jesse.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And of course, thank you, Chris Logan. Appreciate
Thank you,
y'all.
Chris Logan Media.
Now, coming into today, we've got all of the stories of restaurants typically, but something a little bit different, a little bit special today. Jesse's not with a restaurant, in case you don't recognize him. I'm sure most of you do. He's pretty famous around these parts. He keeps things running with Lafayette Travel, Eat Lafayette, all of those things that help showcase the same things that we want to showcase, the things that make our area so unique and so special. And
I've said it before, but quite a badass
absolutely
at promoting local businesses
he
and
really
travel.
is.
So,
he really is.
thank
Tell us
you.
a little bit about yourself, though, before we get into what you do.
Yeah, well, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me on the podcast. Always love chatting with you guys. So Jesse Guidry, I work for Lafayette Travel as the Vice President of Communication, which also handles Eat Lafayette, which is the tie-in.
How long have you been
for
there?
this. I think we're going on like 12 years. I don't know. I took a little bit of time off and came back, so it's like it's dicey for me. So I think we're at 12-ish.
Wow.
Quite a while.
Yeah. So very exciting. But before that, did a lot of work in nonprofits. I worked with the poor, the homeless. I worked at the Acadiana Center for the Arts. I worked at Vermilionville, Bayou Vermilion District. So I really feel like all of those things kind of fed me into the job that I have now.
Yeah.
Coming from a nonprofit background into a quasi-governmental one, pretty efficient with a budget and kind of like you said, just getting things done without a whole lot of help because that's what you're used to with nonprofits, as I'm sure you guys know, trying to get this off the ground and loading it. It takes an effort and it takes a village for sure.
It
Absolutely.
does. And it takes a lot of love for all of those things that you're talking about. What makes you love Lafayette so much?
So I grew up in Brobridge, right? Aside from, I think, me and my uncle, I'm the only one in my mom's side of the family that lives in Lafayette. So this is the closest to like that big city feel that I could get. I do feel like in a past life I was, definitely in a very dense city because that's, usually what I gravitate towards. But I live and work in downtown Lafayette, and I love it. And I, have the privilege of being able to promote this area, but then also traveling quite a bit. And I get to meet people that have traveled away from this area, come back to this area, other people that are affiliated with this area, and nobody really has a bad thing to say about it. That's kind of it just always blows my mind. The personal stories that people have, be it, I remember whenever Don's was downtown and I went and I had an old fashioned and I remember this guy's name, Jerry, and and they tell me this whole story about how they told him where to go eat and then invited him back to their house. It's not uncommon, to see all this. And Lafayette is a pretty easy place to promote. I mean, I've got a very easy job. I don't have to stretch very hard to find interesting things, and for me, I tend to gravitate toward those like alternative, weird, or kind of like off-kilter things that, would make for an interesting story angle or something that I feel like would appease to the public. And I think that's what we do very well, is even taking something, like Sundays where we are, and really like trying to sell that in a unique way, because it's like, it's just an ice cream place. What's not an ice cream place?
No.
You go into the history of the
Right,
place and then
right.
and they're like, oh my God, so it's the same floors, and this used to be a soda jerk store. And like, that's where it all comes in. Because the one thing about Lafayette, when we're talking about the food scene, that I always get asked is like, everybody says y'all have the best food, but like, who are your James Beard winners? Who are your celebrity chefs? And it's like, I don't, sure, we've got a couple
We'll
of
be talking to
James
one after
Beard
this.
things.
Yeah. Madonna coming in
So it's getting
later.
there, but that's not what our food scene is, and that's
Right.
what I kind of have to
Right.
educate people, is that it's not the celebrity chef, it's the 90-year-old restaurant that, my grandfather took me to, for special occasions, that his father took him to, and it's the same gumbo, it's the same steak, it's the same crawfish etouffee. That's pretty powerful for people that, come here and are just like, wow, like 92 years this place has been open, right? And I'm talking about Riverside Inn, Poor
Yeah.
Boys
Yeah,
Riverside Inn.
Riverside.
Yeah.
They've been around for a while and have a lot of just rich stories. So that's usually where I start with this area, be it the food scene or anything. What's the oldest? What's the most significant? Who's been doing it the longest? And then you just work your way up.
Yeah. Well, we've got, just the stories that we've got, I think. I was thinking last night of what I really wanted, what key thing I really wanted to ask you about, because I feel like you're so tied into what I think is the most special, So for me, we're the hub city, right? And we're the center of everything. And I say that all the time. And I use food to bring people together, and that's what Lafayette's kind of known for. But it's not just the food, it's the music, and it's the community, and it's the culture, and those are the things that make our area so special to me. Food is just, I don't know, I guess the one closest to my heart and taste buds, I guess. But it's more than that. I think part of what it is we're a little more resilient. We're a resilient people. And where does that come from? I don't know, kind of like our gumbo being a mix of things from all over the world. If you think about who makes up this area, the Cajun people were the criminals and the prostitutes that got kicked out. Nobody wanted them, They were the rejects and the discards. And a lot of our attitude, our strength, I think, determination, probably comes from that. And then you've got a lot of people that have come from slaves and brought in the ingredients and the recipes from Africa and from the Caribbean and from all of these areas of the world. All of these people and all of these ingredients, all that was rejects. It was what nobody wanted, what nobody thought was special, dumped into the swamp because this is where nobody was. This is where they could come together and survive and grow what they could and make something absolutely delicious and beautiful out of it. And I think, I don't know, it's whether it's a recipe for a gumbo or the recipe for what pulls our community together, I think that's the thing. And you're so tapped into that. I think to me, I feel like that's what you promote. That's what you advertise, is how do we share that with the world?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the resilient part, for sure. Just all the cultures that make up this area, and we're working on a much larger project to kind of tell that story, which I'm excited to release. A lot of
Yay.
people don't understand, and again, you hit the nail on the head. Like, nobody wanted to live here. I mean, there, this change from French to Spanish to French rule, and people were promised different things when they came here, and so very much just kind of needed to make it work. And how we did that, and what was happening here that wasn't happening in other port cities, like let's say like in New York, when people are arriving, it was very much like, the Italians were like, this is our area, the Irish, this is our area. Whoever came in last was the bottom of the totem pole. There was no cultural exchange that was happening necessarily. It was more like, this is us, that's y'all.
Right.
Whereas down here, we had to learn how to survive from the Native Americans, and then
Right.
we took various things from the Africans,
Make it
from
work.
the Germans, and kind of incorporated all of these things and created a life here in a place that is historically difficult to live.
Right.
I mean, it is hot. It is, but there's a reason why the bousillage of the architecture was done, the way the houses were built. So
Oh my gosh, the mosquitoes, malaria. I mean,
So I think we just kind of took everybody kind of took the best of everything that worked
Yeah,
and
exactly.
combined it. And when you have something like that, you're not as, I guess, I mean, we're welcoming to people, but we are resilient to change. It's kind of like, why? It's been working like this for so long. And so that's where those kind of like cultural traditions really kind of like dig their heels in. And people can, just have so much pride in that because it's been around and they can trace their lineage back. And so that's definitely something about this place is that it is very unchanged. I've been told we move at our own pace. We are unbothered by many things. A lot of people that we host, it's like, well, this person said they were going to be here at 10 and it's 10:15. I'm like, they'll be here. They just sent me a text. They comment. It's like, oh, man, I stopped at so-and-so's house. That's how we are. Very laissez-faire, it's going to happen when it's going to happen.
It took 30 minutes to say goodbye. They left on
Yeah.
time. It just took
Yeah.
30 minutes to leave. That's all.
So that's good. And I think the other thing about this area, because and obviously those cultural traditions seep into, the food and the music, which are two of the best ways to introduce someone to any new culture is through
Yeah.
food and music. I
Absolutely.
mean, it's a great, it's literally a visual, it hits all
Yeah.
the senses of coming in. But, again, I'll just go back to the exchange that happened and the beauty of all these things being mixed. And the final thing that I'll say about that is in traveling to all of these places, some of the first things that people will send you is like, oh, you got to go to this museum to learn about all of this. And I've been told by people that we host, because we host a lot of media and travel writers and groups, the culture and the history is being lived here. Like there's
that's a
not
good way to put that.
necessarily.
There's no museum.
I
We
mean,
are a museum.
You can go to Vermilionville, you can go to Acadian Village, you can go to Maison Freetown and all of these museums, but for everything that you're witnessing there is an actual real life person that is still weaving and looming. There's like
Yeah.
the Acadiana Brown Cotton Initiative that is being, so there's things that I can point to and people that they can speak to that these traditions are being
Yeah.
carried on. This is not something that's like, oh, let's go look at this person's, fiddle that was played, 100 or some odd years ago. It's like, well, no, that person's still playing that fiddle or handed it down to this person so you can go and chat with them. And the other thing, I know I said that was the last one, but one of the things I like to point out, especially whenever I host any musical person whenever they come down, especially to events like Festival Acadien, which is about to come up, some guy brought down his fiddle and was able to show him around. And then the Cajun Jam tent, we went and he was able to play. I think it was like Gina Forsyth or somebody they just saw on stage, and he was just absolutely blown away of having that access to this person.
Oh, wow.
Where it's like, I've been struggling with this, can you help me? And it's like the accessibility of it all is something that's really beautiful, and I think that we all take for granted.
Oh, definitely.
We do, yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's I'll say that's what I'll say about why this area is so special and why I promote it.
But I tell you too, and while I take some things for granted, I've only been here for 15 years, and I'm still blown away by Mardi Gras, like blown away. And I would rather be on the streets of Lafayette for a Mardi Gras parade than even in New Orleans, because it's just so much more family oriented. Really,
is.
it's
It
calmer, but it's fun. You have a place to stand always. You can be at the gate. What do you call that? The
The barricade.
the barricade. You can be
Oh.
at the barricade anywhere, if you want. So I love that, but the sense of community here is just amazing. And I've said it before, our community pulls together when they need to.
That's what I was just going to say. You experienced that, I feel like, in a quick way with the flood.
Oh, yeah.
I
And-
know in 2016 a lot of people did, but you not being from here, do you think you would have had that same kind of coming together anywhere else that you've lived?
Not as a community. My immediate neighbors would be helpful, would be
Sure.
helpful. But the community, yeah, people walked down our street and they had food and they had cleaning
Yeah.
supplies. 3 Church of Christ gutted our house. I mean, they just came and did.
Yeah.
So, no, that is not something that is everywhere for sure. And I've lived many places, but it's not the same. So that sense of community and everything that they do to pull together. And it doesn't matter differences at that point; they're going to pull together.
No,
You know,
And
we've seen it happen.
for hurricanes, for floods. And now, I mean, even we've got Cajun Navy that's going out and helping everybody else in other places too. I don't know. I feel like some of the same things that make our food so good is the same things that make our area so special.
Yeah.
I
And
wish we could bottle that and share it with the rest of the world, you know?
And I think we're unique in the way that, you know, in a lot of ways, we're kind of in Austin, we're a mix. We're a mix of different cultures, and we know that, but just personalities and everything. And so I love that.
Absolutely.
And I never felt uncomfortable walking around in Lafayette. You know, I always feel comfortable. It is such a great place, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have to sell you on it, but
Yeah, right.
So fine, I'll go.
yeah. So I know we talked not long ago, and there was you do cook, and a lot of times you're invited to cook at cook-offs. And sometimes you sneak up on people and you win those. So tell us a little bit about your cook-off experience. And we were talking about that over lunch the other day, but what an interesting story.
Yeah, I cook. So that wasn't always the case. I mean, you have children, and then you need to learn how to cook, obviously, and then you want to provide, you know, all the food pyramid portions. So you learn how to cook different things. But I really didn't cook a whole lot growing up. It wasn't actually until I started working at Lafayette Travel. We one of the first series that we did was, our second or third, was on gumbo. And so I had a videographer, and then I had a writer, and what we did is we picked 6 different types of gumbo to basically explore, and I interviewed these people. We filmed them while they were making it, and that was completely eye-opening to me in terms of, I mean, at the core of it, you have the same standard ingredients. We didn't pick, like, somebody did a green gumbo, somebody did a gluten-free gumbo, somebody did a seafood gumbo. So I wanted to, like, kind of touch on all of those points, but I mean, at the core of it, a lot of these ingredients are carried over throughout, and just to see how, the order in which people do things, how they do things.
Oh, the procedure of it.
I learned so much, so much from those people, and a lot of it is carried on, and a lot of it is kind of like what their mother made, and then
It's
they
very
built on it.
ritualistic.
Yeah, not mine though. So I had to start defining like what I guess my gumbo was, you know, and I didn't really feel one way or the other about it, and you know, a St. Martin Parish gumbo, at least in my family, they do not like smoked sausage. They're a fresh sausage, and it's not even like a browning thing. They just put that thing right in there and boil it, which is interesting for me because I like the smoke flavor. But you know, I also don't mind a little bit of okra. I don't mind a little bit of seafood. I don't mind a little green.
there.
So
I'm with
it's
you
just
there.
like what do I want to make, and mine tends to be a little bit thicker than it is like more runny, which is, you know, a St. Martin Parish or a Burbridge gumbo is going to be super flavorful but super watery, you know, but it's going to have that flavor to it, which is a feat within itself and something that's very hard to do. But that's how I kind of got tapped into all of these things and kind of just went down a path. I mean, rice and gravy was obviously always something that, you know, I made, and then the sides and everything. And Blackpot Festival is something that's always been very near and dear to my heart since it first opened. I don't think might have missed a couple of them, but not much. And that's kind of how I started cooking through Lafayette Travel. One of our initiatives was to get more involved in the community, and so, you know, started talking to my boss about what that looked like, and everybody kind of took different things. And I would set up a tent for Lafayette Travel and recruited pretty good cooks to come because I am slightly competitive. It's more against myself than it is anybody else. Like, that's
Are
the
you
weird thing, is,
cooking
like-
this year?
Oh, probably not. I kind of, I don't want to say I retired, but I prefer to go and enjoy. And usually, I don't think there hasn't been a festival, Mardi Gras Festival, Cotton Air Festival International, that I have not worked since I've started this job. So I kind of allow myself to do that. But the past 2 Blackpots, I've hosted either an influencer or a travel writer, and have been eating, which is delightful.
Nice.
But we set up a tent, hand out some promo items, and yes, I've placed first in gravy, dessert, and then jambalaya.
Oh, what was your dessert?
I think I made like. I kind of pissed off the jam people a little bit because I had my truck, and I think it was like a take on kind of like a campfire blueberry dumpling thing, you know, where you just do anyway. But I used a blender in my electrical outlet in the back of my truck. which was by the jam session. So they kind of gave me a look like, "What you doing?" But I got a little fancy. I used some spelt flour, which kind of gives it a different taste than some other things. And so, that went well. And then, I had never made jambalaya before, and we didn't have somebody making jambalaya, so I just made that and got.
So like,
first,
I've never
which is
made it
interesting.
before. Let's do it at a cook-off.
Yeah.
And get first place. I
That
mean,
takes kahunas.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
mean, I guess you just kind of you do it for fun, and I really enjoy it, and we did that for about 3-4 years, and then like COVID hit and life changed for me in a great way after that. So I'm mainly just bystanding and enjoying these days, but I do enjoy cooking. But someone did ask me to cook for a fundraiser they're having on the 28th at the Sidecar. I think Marsha Ball is going to be playing, and she was just like, I want to represent the different cultures of Lafayette. And these days I don't do much Cajun cooking. Like, it's just not like, I can't tell you the last time that I made a rice and gravy or a gumbo. And so she was like, you make whatever you want. And so I just thought it'd be fun to make a matzo ball soup. So that's what I'll be making.
I'm going to have to go.
That's
I'm going to have to go
fantastic.
check
I love
that
it.
out.
I love it.
Yeah, so a little nod to the Jewish people around here and try to give them something to, just to sip on. But it's fun for me. I don't take it super seriously. When you're
Oh God, I do. Whenever I'm going to cook off, I take it way seriously.
I just don't.
And I get bitter if I don't win.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's understandable.
We're not talking about the shrimp festival anymore.
We're not talking about the shrimp
Not
festival.
today.
No. So you mentioned the ACA, and you were there. What was that like? What was that job about?
Learned a whole lot about art. Shout out to Brian Guidry, who taught me a whole lot. But basically moved there. It was around, we did a lot. Just bringing it back to food. So one of the things that I introduced was the Brewmasters dinner. So Golf Brew always took place, and it was kind of like hopping around and still growing at that point. And we wanted to add another fundraising component to it. And coming from the Outreach Center, we had done like Palates and Pate, which was a huge fundraiser, and there was a lot more events that were with that. So I had experience working with chefs and artists, so I knew that I could pull this off, and then had some great partners at the ACA. And so we just did this really successful tasting where I partnered chefs and beer makers, and the chefs were partnered with a beer maker and made something to complement the beer, and then all of the attendees were able to rate it. So it was kind of like a little Top
fun.
Chefy and a little fun, but it was a very well attended event that I think they continued for 1 or 2 years, but it is a huge lift to do on top of an annual fundraiser. But the ACA is just, at the time, was transitioning from the Acadiana Arts Council. They had a lot of initiatives, and so my main role with them is just bringing everything that they did and making people understand that, because it was so disjointed. In terms of like migrating from Acadiana Arts Council to the Acadiana Center for the Arts. They had Louisiana Crossroads. They have a granting program. They do arts and education. They have a series
They
that
do
was
a
breaking
lot.
out. So it's like making people understand what they do, what that is, and
Gosh,
that it
yeah.
is a regional arts facility. I could go on, but that was extremely enlightening me. I got dialed into just a lot of artists and how they do things and their way of thinking, and made a lot of lasting friendships that I still
I love
I still
that,
keep in touch
though.
with all
Yeah,
of them. Like
I
it's
love
it's
that.
they're really great people.
The art walk and their show.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're really setting
it's something
a
I
higher,
look forward to.
They're setting a higher standard in terms of what I think live music and performances should be, in terms of what they're charging, how they pay people, and how they do that out. And it's not something that's accessible every weekend, but they give space to not only up and coming musicians, but established ones. And
That's
it
so important.
really, really makes a difference whenever you have a local band who's able to tout that, like, they played at this, pretty prominent theater
Yeah.
in town. It just means a lot. And they're also doing a lot in the art space. I sit on the public arts. We have quarterly meetings about everything that's going on, and just the ideas that come out of that, and how tapped they are into the community. And not only that, but the artists and the resources that they are providing them through workshops. It's just
amazing.
amazing. And the fact that they do this, and they're a nonprofit. It
They
just
do
blows,
amazing
it
work.
blows my mind.
And then they give grants. They just did something. What was that called? They did.
Art Spark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is amazing.
And it runs the gamut. I've had the privilege of sitting on that panel and reviewing, and just like the ideas that people come up with are absolutely amazing. So
Wow, I love that.
We're better together for sure.
We'd like to take a moment to mention our partner, Logic Refrigeration HVAC. They are doing amazing work in the community with restaurants and service HVAC and refrigeration for a lot of our local restaurants. And also, Seth is such a big player in our community fridge project by donating his services to keep those cool, as well as donating double commercial fridges for both locations. So Seth, we appreciate you. Logic HVAC, if you're a restaurant owner, I'm pretty sure that Logic HVAC, refrigeration HVAC, can save you money. All right, we're back with Jesse, and having a conversation and how passionate you are about everything that you do. But one of your projects that you're on is Eat Lafayette. Tell us all about that, kind of the history of Eat Lafayette, where it's gone, where it's going, and what's really going on, because it's so important to our local restaurants.
Yeah, so Eat Lafayette started well over 20 years ago. I think we're in year 21 or 22. When it first started, the concept of a restaurant week or a summer deals campaign didn't really exist. So they created this out of a need from some of the restaurateurs, saying that this, obviously the summertime is a need month and it's very slow for them. So they get started with something like 20 some odd restaurant and like maybe a 1 or 2 week campaign. And then whenever I got on board and kind of took it over, had extended to a 3-month campaign, and then we built it up to roughly about 250 restaurants that were in there, right? So, it's existed for a while, and we've moved past, we would do a summer campaign, we would do a kickoff event, which most people were familiar with, the Taste of Eat Lafayette, where we had various restaurants and you can sample different things. Over the years, we added the Louisiana Seafood Cook-Off for, I think, 5 or 6 years, which was pretty exciting to have the state involved in that. And then in the last 2 years that we did it, when the Seafood Cook-Off wasn't there, we kind of made it an awards ceremony for historic restaurants, and still had the tasting event, but just tried to add a little something. And then kind of looking at just kind of the state of things, where we were, we called a meeting of our advisory board and just said, listen, what's important to you guys? And what we did when we took their advice is just kind of really focusing on getting, for lack of a better word, just like butts and seats at the restaurants.
Sure.
Which obviously the summer campaign does, but being able to move it to more of a year-round, which, we do anyway. If you follow our social channels or our email, we're promoting stuff year-round, but the campaign money that we were spending was in a 3-month place. And so we moved that to 12 months, and we got a little strategic in terms of like where we're spending that money. So we aren't doing the Taste of Eat Lafayette kickoff event. There's at least 2 or 3 of those that existed. And,
Sure.
At the end of the day, the restaurants just kind of communicated, like having a staff person having to provide 800 samples.
That's a lot.
Right. And so we tried a couple of things to make that work, and it just, at the end of the day, it didn't really feed their bottom line, and we're here to serve the restaurants. Yeah. So listening to them, we are more focused now on not only the locals, but visitors in the hotels, and then we have a really robust youth sports market that comes in during the summer. So a lot of those restaurants benefit from that. So it's more about just dialing in and seeing where we can complement things that are happening. So, for example, the Acadiana Eats Festival that KLFY does, Eat Lafayette is going to be the presenting sponsor for that festival. So we can couple, not only the advertising dollars, but then at that event, the restaurants can set up and they can sell their food. So it's not, it's a little bit different, and that's
better for everybody. I love that.
I think so. So we'll be featuring some Eat Lafayette restaurants over there in continuation with them. And we have a couple of other things planned that I can't talk about right now.
Come on.
In terms of
Let us break it for you. Let us break it for you.
Well, you'll just have to have me back on. I don't know when this is going to air, so I can't talk about it yet. But we are moving more towards that, about looking at what's already existing in the community and how we can support those things. And then just fun ways. The biggest thing that I think people will recognize that just came out is the Po' Boy Trail.
Yes. Al Abear has been rocking that thing.
Yes, he just messaged me, and there may be coasters coming. He's got ideas. So Al's a really great partner with Acadian, but he at the outset, whenever we released this thing, he's like, we've got to do something with it. And people certainly appreciate that. But putting something like that out, that's probably the 4th or 5th food trail that I've done, but it's the one that made the biggest splash, because we stopped and we promoted it as an Eat Lafayette product and through Eat Lafayette, which was extremely beneficial. So at the end of the day, we had over 70 different restaurants that extended all over the parish, and then a couple of Po' Boys. It's a lot, but I also, when we do things like this, especially you've got boudin, you've got gumbo, It benefits the locals listing all of those places, but then we do stories on these places, and we try to highlight people that are doing things differently, minority-owned businesses, unique things, different areas of the parish, because we do represent the parish and not just the city. So, we have to, think outside the box a little bit, because the visitor doesn't understand that they're headed to New Iberia for something, right? They just know that that's where more or less Tabasco is. And so,
Sure.
so what we, they don't know that they're leaving Lafayette. So we really, it's a lot of work to put these things out. And then whenever, you see people using it, it's very rewarding. But my goal with that is not so much like, it's to encourage people to like, if I can lower the barrier to try a new place with a familiar favorite, like if their barrier to entry for a place is like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna like anything on the menu, but they know they're going to like a po' boy in this place as a po' boy, and it gets them to go try it, then I've done my job. Because that's the biggest obstacle with any food place in Lafayette is like people, whether it be lunch or dinner, family, single, couple, you have got your date night place, you got your place you go with the family. And that is very hard to break. That's why we created the dining districts a while back to try to help kind of get people out of, the regular
I love that
ins and
idea
outs.
too. I do.
So you can be more intentional with it.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And then it's kind of the same
Try
thing with
something
our boudin trail. Everybody has their favorite boudin, but the way that we wrote it, like I hired a food writer to come in, and this one's spicier, this one has more liver, this one's more like pate, this one's chunkier. So it does two things. Like for the local, it's kind of like, well, I didn't know this place served boudin, and it's like, first of all, everybody's super skeptical if it's not their favorite place, which is like, that's fine.
I know. I
It's
know.
like, go and try it.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
you
tell
could
me.
start a war with
you
that.
can.
You can, but not on Foodies of Lafayette because we keep it positive.
Right. But for a visitor who has no concept of what this is or may have heard about
Yeah.
it, they can read this. And what I like about it is that if they go to 2 or 3 places based off of these recommendations, even if they go to like 4 or 5, whenever they leave this place, they have a better understanding that boudin recipes are one of a kind. No matter, like, they can have 70 places that are making it, it's going to be different 70 times.
I find that Cajun food, period.
For the most part, but it's really great when you can point to something and use it as an example, kind of like what we were talking about, bringing people to the table culturally with something like that. They taste it, all of a sudden they not only understand what boudin is, they also have a favorite boudin, and then they become an advocate for it. So it's not just like coming in and tasting a thing, right? Like you have now have an understanding, can describe to somebody why you like this particular boudin.
Right.
So we've eliminated the whole like, oh, well, boudin is just one thing. It's the same thing with gumbo. It's the same thing with the plate lunch.
Someone
right?
says, what's the best gumbo in town? I'm like, the one you like. I
Yeah.
mean, go try them all, and you tell me.
It's true.
Well, that's why there's room for everybody. It blows my mind that people get so caught up in, there's only room for one. No, this is such a big planet.
No,
oh my
right.
gosh.
Share
Let's
the
do all
love.
of them, and everybody can have their own favorite.
Yeah,
Yay.
and you can like different ones for different things too. You know, like someone may have your favorite chicken and sausage, another may be your favorite seafood, and
Right,
then-
exactly.
Yeah, so it all
Exactly.
depends. But I mean, we promote it all.
You do. Now, I'm going to touch on this. I know that you guys have been working on an app, and it's not released. It may be released by the time this video is released.
Fingers
I don't
crossed.
know. But tell us a little bit about what that app's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things going back to, our restaurants, and we have an advisory board that we also, speak with for Eat Lafayette. Everybody just keeps saying there's not a central place for locally owned restaurants, and they keep, we obviously have the website, which is a great resource, which is eatlafayette.com, but I understand the need for people to like an app or a thing that's something that's not a website, or maybe it's not tied to the CVB website. So we started developing this app.
This is where everything lives.
It is.
For the most part, yeah.
It is.
So we started developing this app, and I know as a consumer what was important to me whenever I'm going there. I hate being taken off of something and into something else, or like a lot of these apps will be like, oh great, like I found a place, but I don't have a menu, I don't have hours of operation. So what we're hoping to do is. It obviously will not have every single locally owned restaurant, because Eat Lafayette, while anyone can join, there is a paid tier. So we will include everyone on the app, but those paid tier people will get, kind of bumped up So a little bit, as we do on our website and everything else. So it will be very inclusive, but it will have menus, it will have hours of operation, very much
great.
like Google does in terms of telling you like now is a good time to go because it's not busy. It will have all of those things.
That's impressive. That's
Nice.
great.
Yeah, and so like if you're looking, you're not going to be inundated with a bunch of listings of places that aren't open. It's only going to show the ones that are open,
Oh,
and then let you
good.
know when they open. So we try to make it as like, you know, what I'm looking for whenever I go
Right.
places or looking for something.
Right.
The dining districts will be on there. But the thing that I'm probably most excited about is that, well, yes, this is a Eat Lafayette app. We also do a lot of things on the Lafayette Travel side of things that are beneficial. For instance, Lafayette Weekly. It's you know, a weekly video series that I do where we tell people what's going on each day
I
of
see
the
those.
week. It's also the live music listings. We have a, you know, Philippe Biadeau, who's a local musician, has been doing a playlist I think for 8 years now, every week, and then does a blog post, and then we do all of the listings of the music. So it combines kind of all of those things. That
Yeah.
will also be on the app. So you
Oh,
don't have to go to a
I
list.
love that.
fantastic.
So you'll be able to see
that's
what live
awesome.
music is there. You'll be able to see what events are there. And then the
Yay.
Po' Boy Trail that I just talked about will be on there, as well as our Plate Lunch Trail and Boudin Trail. So you can see all of those things listed. And the best part about this app is there's a gamification. So we have something called
We're going to be hunting for what was that
for the
called?
most part.
Pikachus or
our food.
Our food.
But yeah, so it's called the Flavor Quest. Right, and so there's 3 different levels. There's mild, medium, and spicy. Right, so depending on how many places you check in, and it is collective. So I think it's like 10, 20, and 30 places. You're entered for a chance to win a gift card to a locally owned
Oh,
restaurant.
fun.
And so we'll pull every month, and then as those, you know, obviously as this thing rolls out and we see how people are going to engage with it, there's other levels of things that we can do that incorporates not only food but some more cultural attractions. So you're going to start seeing a little bit more of those things and a little bit of, you know, coming together of not only the food but the cultural side of things. And maybe it's, I don't know, in the form of a summer scavenger hunt. You know, just things like that. So
Fun.
we're going to have a lot of fun with it, but at the core of it, I really wanted it to be something that, I'll be honest with you, that I would feel comfortable using.
Yeah.
And checks all
Right.
my boxes.
Absolutely.
So that's, you know, I have an idea of when it's going to come out, but I don't want to announce it in case it's there. But if you just in the App Store, if you're watching this, if you search Eat Lafayette, it should pop up.
Okay.
And you should be able to
Great.
download
Not a
it,
finished
so.
product though.
Not a finished product, but by the time that this airs, it probably will be.
All right. Yay.
Well, what a fun job you really
Absolutely.
have.
a lot
It must be
going
fantastic going to work every day.
Yeah, it is. It
So,
is.
yeah,
Just trying
I
to keep all
mean-
these projects in line.
And yeah, and you meet so many great people in the community.
Yep.
And outside the community, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, wow. Thank you for coming and sharing this. And we can't wait to collaborate with you guys. Anything you need us to talk about and release,
Absolutely.
let us help you out because we're in the same boat.
Yep, absolutely.
In it together.
In it together.
Well, before we let everybody go, I do want to say thank you, Colin, Ounce of Hope. If y'all haven't checked it out yet, y'all please go check out ounceofhope.com. Want a discount? Put in Foodies. That'll get you a discount on there. You can also pick it up locally. There's some at Marcello's. I just saw it earlier today.
New News.
New News has got it. Rouse has
Doc's
had it.
down there by Pops.
Oh,
I saw it
Doc's
there.
pop in.
So you can find it all
Go
over
check
town.
it out, y'all.
What a great product.
Lots of good flavors, really good stuff. Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us. Let's eat.
Let's eat.
Make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. And thanks again to our Chef's Table sponsor, Logic Refrigeration and HVAC. You can learn more at getlogicservice.com. If you have a restaurant, commercial business, Seth can take care of you. Give him a call, 337-242-1000. Until next time, let's eat.